Hi everyone, Justin here from EFM Online Fitness. Today we have a program that's going to focus on your posture. So a lot of us sit at a desk, at a computer typing all day, and what you are tending to see and what we deal with a lot here in the physical gym is that people's shoulders are becoming more and more rounded and our posture is becoming more and more sagged. So you can see that my back is nice and rounded here, my shoulders are slumped forward. And what that does is it kind of pushes my hips forward just to kind of balance everything out. So we're going to address those issues today. Now, unlike some of the other sessions, I'm going to move the camera to make sure you get the best look at the technique and the technical things that I'm telling you with these exercises. So if you see me jump and the camera kind of go jump here, jump there, it's just so that you get the best picture of the technique possible, but I'm still going to do it in real time. So you will still get the full session with me. It'll just look a little different from a few different angles. Okay, but first off, why do we get this rounded shoulder look? So in basic terms, and everyone has a little bit of a different spine, and there might be some more technical definition. So first of all, why do we have this rounded posture? So in basic terms, if you're sitting at a computer all day, typing away, using the mouse, even just flicking through our phone constantly, you can see that when we're here forward, our shoulders have to lurch forward. And once our shoulders lurch forward, our neck has to go with it. So a lot of you guys might be starting to experience some stiffness through the neck here as well. It's a response to where your shoulders are becoming more rounded. And what happens is this little muscle here, so we have a big pectoral muscle here, and we have this smaller pectoral muscle here that gets tighter and tighter and tighter and is going to pull your shoulder around. And as a result, as that gets tighter and tighter and tighter, and because we're not really using our back muscles, they get weaker and weaker and weaker, and we get more into this position. You'll also see it when you get some really big guys in the gym. Doesn't happen much anymore, but back in the day, you used to see some really large, muscly guys walking around this way, doing so much chest and bicep and forgetting too much about the back. It got tighter and tighter and tighter, and they have to walk around like this. So, what are the fixes? We're going to release the chest and strengthen the back. And with these exercises that we're going to do, over a period of time, we're able to retract the shoulders back into their position, and as a result, instead of your shoulders here and your neck there, as your shoulders become further back, your neck will return to normal and you won't get that stiffness. We also have to fix this lower part, which we'll talk about a little bit at the end of the session, but it's probably a whole other session by itself. Okay, so let's start. Let's stretch our chest. Now I've got a pole here. I'm going to put my forearm up the pole and have my elbow at 90 degrees here, right? And then I'm standing directly in line with it and I'm going to twist. So what you'll find straight away is that from all the way from your bicep through into your chest, you feel a stretch. All right, we're trying to stretch our chest muscle out. Now what we'll do is we'll hold it for about 10 to 15 seconds. A stretch probably should last longer than that. And you can do this during the course of your day at any point. We'll swap sides. But 10 to 15 seconds would be the absolute minimum. So again, I'm in line with the pole, and this might be a door frame at your house. We're going to twist away. I can even rotate my feet away. And we're going to stretch our chest. Hold it 10 to 15 seconds. So I think ideally the longer the better, even up to a minute, 90 seconds would be the latest kind of research as to what's the most effective. But 10 to 15 seconds will do us in the course of trying to do a workout in about 30 seconds and then do a bit more of that at home. Okay, so that's number one. So we've opened up their chest. Now, a second one I'll do with our shoulders, we'd like to have a bar, but I'm going to do it here on this pole as well. Stand a good arm width away. We're going to duck our head down below our shoulders, hips go back, And what you'll feel is that stretch across the back of your shoulders. Now we're going to hold that for about 10 to 15 seconds. Continue to hold, continue to hold. We're almost there. Continue. All right. Fantastic. That'll do. So you should have felt that pressure across the top of your shoulders. So we're starting to release the chest, release the shoulders. So they're the best way to stretch the chest open. Now what we want to do is start to strengthen the back. And there are a whole bunch of other, if I go back as point, there's a whole bunch of other mobility, chest and shoulder mobility exercises we can do. It's endless, and I'll be doing videos on that a little bit later on. But for now, those two basic ones, that'll get us started. Now let's start to strengthen the back so we can balance out the strength in your chest with the back. Now, what I've found is one of the most important things to do is to actually be able to activate the back muscles. Now, what do I mean by the back muscles? As I turn my back to the camera, right across the signage here from the EFM logo, particularly here between the shoulder blades. They tend to get a little lazy, to be honest. They don't really want to work, and that because they kind of haven't been working. They're used to really doing nothing as you sit here doing everything in front of you. You push things away. We tend not to pull anything back. So let's get them activated by one simple little thing. What I'd like you to do is hold your arms out straight. I'm going to move to the side. And I'm going to get you to retract your shoulders backwards. So we're going to pull your shoulder blades together, but I don't want you to bend your elbows. All right? So this is going to be a little bit tricky. And it's got to do more with the psychology of, and I'll turn my back again, it's got more to do with the psychology of these muscles and you used to being able to grab things and pull it towards you. If we hold our hands out straight, retract the shoulders, it means activating or getting a nice activity between your brain saying to those muscles, I need you to do this. And if you haven't done it for a long time, it starts to get a little tricky. So we're going to do 10 of them, right? We've already done, say, 5 and 6, and we keep shrugging. 7 from the back, 8, and just hold it there a second. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. 9, and 1 more, and 10. Now, if you have any kind of shoulder problems, a shoulder impingement, it's a really good way to start too, because we need to get those muscles working. Again, whole other set of exercises there. But, so we've started. We've stretched our chest. We've kind of started to activate the back. There's lots of muscles that we want to activate at the back, but that's a really good start to activate those muscles between the shoulder blades. Now, note that I'm not using the right and correct anatomical pronunciations of, because I don't really feel like you need it. Let's just go with, and I tend to always describe, this is where you should feel it, this is what you should be doing. If I start calling things terms that you don't understand, it starts to get a little bit useless. So those muscles between the shoulder blades, we're retracting them, we're pulling the shoulder blades back together. That's how I'm going to describe things going forward. Okay, so you've seen that I've moved the position of the camera. That's because we're about to start the strength portion of the program. All right, so we're going to start with what I think is quite a classic exercise for posture called a face pull. Now, what I'll get you to do, now you can do this with a band at home if you need to, but in our gym here and in most gyms, if you're at the gym, we want to do it with a cable machine. Now, and traditionally you'll see a lot of people doing it with a rope. Now, when I'm describing the movement or doing the movement as I'm describing it, do it with the rope. I'd like you to get these long handles on the long ropes so that what we can do is start to pull our hands way back behind our head. We want to rotate our shoulders. All right, so the movement of the face pull is we're here, we pull it back into this 90-degree position, right? So we go from there, 90-degree position. Now, why this is important, we use all the muscles in the back and we're also rotating our shoulders, what we call externally. We're going that way. That way is the same as that way, right? So we're rotating externally. So we want to get our hands back behind our ears. That'll be what we're trying to think about. And as you pull this, the little ball here, the little holder is going to go between your eyes, if not slightly above. All right, so that's the technique. I'm going to take a step back. My hands are at shoulder level. We're going to pull those hands back behind our ears. Our elbows are nice and high. And then we release slowly. So like all exercises, we release that backwards part as slowly as possible so we retain the tension in the muscles. We're going to do 12 of these. All right, so we pull that ball between the eyes or just above into the forehead. Our hands, elbows, both working back behind our ears. Now what you should be feeling is those shoulder blades squeezing together. You'll feel a bit of pressure in the shoulders, and that's fine. That's what we're doing because we're trying to rotate them back out. All right, 5, 6, let's call that 6, 7, 8. Now I've got mine on 2 plates, it's about 8 kilos. 9, one more, we'll do, and 10. Lovely. I've got mine on 2 plates. We don't want to do that too heavily, all right? If we're straining, we won't get that rotation. This isn't purely about how much we can lift and how strong we can get our back quickly. We want to get that rotation in the shoulder. All right, number 2. So I'm going to do these in a circuit, right? I like to do 3 exercises in a little circuit, just hitting roughly the same muscles. Number 2, we're going to come down here. We're going to do a seated row. So this is a lat pull down machine and seated row machine. It's exactly like the rower that you see cardio wise, except we're going to lift some weights. Right, brace with the feet. We're going to hold the bar. I've got the triangle shaped bar. Brace with the feet. I like to have my legs straight. Now, as I was talking to you before about pulling those shoulder blades back together or retracting the shoulders without having to bend the elbows, I'd like you to try and do this in 2 parts. So start a bit lighter than normal. We're going to retract and then continue to pull. Now, if it's too heavy for you, you won't be able to do that, but retract, continue to pull. There's 2. Retract and pull. There's 3. Keep pulling those shoulder blades back together. That's what we really want to achieve here. Shoulder blades together and pull. Shoulder blades together and pull. And what that'll lead to, because you're holding this triangle shaped adaptation here, your elbows will just slide past your rib cage, shoulder blades back and together. If they're flying out wide, you won't really be retracting the shoulder blades. Get ready for 2 more, shoulder blades together. Continue that pulling motion. 1 more, shoulder blades back together. Continue that pulling motion. All right, that's exercise number 2. Now, number 3, we're going to do very similar. We're going to do a 1-arm row with a dumbbell. So I have a little variation that I'd like to show you. I'm going to put this bench on a little bit of an angle. Now, you'll see people in the gym, and traditionally there's 1 knee up, leg back, we're holding on here, we're pulling like we're starting the lawnmower. What we're going to do today is we're going to create a tripod here between our feet, which are a nice distance apart, and our hand on the bench. See this tripod we have here? And then instead of just pulling up directly, I want you to try and rotate it up right next to just above your hip. All right? So what we're actually trying to do is rotate that shoulder away and do it by, I'm going to turn my back again, pulling and retracting that shoulder. So everything is just building into the same kind of movement, with strengthening those muscles between the shoulder blades and opening up the shoulders so that we're not so rounded. Okay? So tripod here, we're only going to do 6. We'll do 6 each side. I've got something reasonably heavy. So I've got a 9 kilo. I want you to just do it at a medium weight for you, whatever you would call medium. I'd start around the, say, 4, 5, 6 dumbbell range. If you've only got a 3 or a 2, it's fine, as long as we get the movement. Okay? Obviously, if you're stronger than me, you can go heavier, but we want to get this movement right. Okay. I'm just going to turn myself around so you can see properly. So 1, let's go. 2, squeeze that shoulder blade. We're going to rotate that dumbbell up past the hip. Squeeze that shoulder blade. 4, squeeze the shoulder blade. 5, one more, squeeze that shoulder blade, is 6. Switch sides. I might even switch over so you can see a bit closer. Ready? Tripod. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you can see the flow of that. It's not a jerky, it's a flowy movement where the plane of that forearm, the plane of the shoulder stays in a nice parallel line, and it rolls nicely up into the rib cage so that it rolls nicely with the shoulder blade. Okay, there are our 3 exercises. Let's go through them again. We've got 2 more sets to do. So, face pull. Now, I'm just going to go through them now that we've described everything. If you need a little bit of rest, have a bit of a rest, but we should be able to do them now without too much stress. Ready? Face pulls. Let's go for 12 this set. 1, into the eye line. 2, shoulder blades together. 3, 4, hands and elbows back behind our ears. 5, that's the crucial one, behind the ears. 6, 7, 8, 9, couple more. 10, should be starting to fatigue, but that's fine. 11, hands back right behind our ears, is 12. Lovely. Give the arms a bit of a swing. Starts to get fatigued no matter what. Now, if you haven't used these muscles for quite a while, they will be fatiguing, and that's fine. Just drop down the weight a little bit. What I'd like to do now is go through these strength exercises so we can do them at a level of intensity so we start to get a little bit out of breath. So you can either work through these exercises really slowly with 0 intensity and have no impact on your cardiovascular improvement, or we can have minimal rest or just enough rest so that we keep the intensity up so your heart rate is elevated. Okay, seated row, we're ready. Shoulder blades together, and 1. Relax them, shoulder blades together. 2. Shoulder blades together. 3. Shoulder blades together. 4. Shoulder blades, pull. 5. And again, shoulder blades, pull. 6. Shoulder blades, we're going for 12. 7. Shoulder blades, 8. And as you pull your shoulder blades together, what you'll find is your chest becomes really proud, points up as your shoulder blades come together. That's probably, if you're seeing nothing else, you'll see your chest point to the ceiling. Let's go 3 more, 2 more, and 1 more. And relax. Very good. Let's do our 1 arm rows. Okay, so we're rotating. So our body stays still. We're not twisting. Our chest stays down, but our shoulder rotates out. Alrighty, tripod. All right, 1. Let's go. 2. Shoulder blade. 3. Come up to the rib cage. 4. 5. And 6. I'll swap sides. Like you guys to be able to see. By now you probably should be doing and just having me in the background. Turn. 1. You can see that my chest is low. 2. 3. A little glitch there. 4. 5. My lower half is very still. And 6. So my lower half is very still and my shoulder is rotating out. It's probably the most technical. All right, face pulls. If you need a mouthful of water, now's the time. Give the arms a bit of a shake. So we've got a couple of chest stretches to go after this. and then a little bit of an explanation of what we should be doing with the lower body, which will come in a future video. So we're not far from finishing. Okay, face pulls, ready? Let's go for 12. 1. So right into the face. I don't want you to sling it. I want you to pull it. All right, let's pull it. 2. Now I'm in this running stance. I have one foot in front of the other. It's the way I do everything. I find it balances me perfectly, and I find it very hard to sway. All right, we're trying to, as we fatigue now, our elbows and hands behind the ears. Elbows and hands behind the ears. Again, I've got this quite light, but I'm fatiguing. That'd be 8. Let's go 4 more. 4. Rotate those hands behind your ears. 3. Hands behind the ears. 2. And I'll try and maneuver myself so you can see what it looks like from the front. This 1. Okay. Shake. Seated row. Now, if you need a little bit more of a break, press pause. And if you just press pause, you're back. Okay. Seated row, up nice and tall, shoulder blades together, retract the shoulders. 1, 2, 3, shoulder blades together, pull. 4, shoulder blades and pull. 5, I'm going to keep saying it, shoulder blades and pull. 6. So in yoga, our instructor Amanda talks about holding a pencil between your shoulder blades. I find it a really good analogy. Keep holding that pencil. Really good visual. Hold that pencil between the shoulder blades and continue the motion as you're gripping that shoulder blade and gripping that pencil with your shoulder blades with your arms. Let's go 2 more and 1 more. Fantastic. All right. You should be starting to get hot because I'm hot. Okay. 1 arm row. Again, most technical, even if you do it without the dumbbell for a second, and if you find that motion where the elbow rolls in behind you, the shoulder blade squeezes, the shoulder is pulling, shoulder blade is pulling, everything is pulling back behind you. Don't try and rip it with the arm. Momentum's not going to help you here. We want to roll that shoulder to squeeze those shoulder blades. All right, tripod nice and wide, stay low. Ready, 2, 1. We're only doing 6. 1. Pull that shoulder blade back. 2. And as you engage those larger muscles, it actually becomes lighter. They're much bigger muscles than the ones just in and around your shoulder blade, in and around your shoulder, which would be doing a lot of lifting if we don't engage these big ones through here. Okay? Last set of 6. Good tripod. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull that shoulder blade back. And 6. Fantastic. Okay. Let's continue. So we've worked those back muscles. Now it's time to, again, open up the chest and continue that work of pulling everything back behind you. All right, so I've got a band, like a little yoga band here. We're going to do what I call a pull apart. All right, so we've got about, I'll have to test this because I've got quite a strong one. If you've got a band, if you don't have one of these bands, like a yoga band, can have one of these kind of booty band things. We're going to do the same thing. So if we've got these booty bands or something tied, what we're trying to do is open up. I might put my thumb there so it stays put. Squeeze to open up your shoulders. So you can see that really clearly, right? Open up the shoulders. Open up the shoulders. Ready? Open up the shoulders, and by squeezing the ones in the back. Now, I actually prefer this band. So we have it about a foot apart. This bench is in my way now. A foot apart, and we pull apart. Really simple exercise. Remember when, would have been about 15 years ago, a pull apart was all the rage in the bakeries. Used to love a good pull apart on a Sunday morning. Now it means something different. All right, pull that band apart. So if you don't have the band, you can do light dumbbells. Just have to be careful, right? If you want to do it slowly. If we start slinging 2 kilo dumbbells, all we're doing is adding momentum. All right, but we should have a band. Every gym has bands. Most people have them at home now. All right, if you're trying to manipulate this at home. All right, let's go for 10 more. 9. So squeeze those shoulder blades in the back, open up the chest. 7 more. And again, 5 more. So my arms are out straight and they stay straight. 4 more. Shoulder blades together, ready? On the back. 2 more. And our last one. Okay. We'll do that again in a second. But what I want to do now while we're resting, because our shoulders and our back muscles, they've taken a bit of a hammering today. Not really light, but they're actually doing stuff for the first time in quite a while. So I mentioned earlier this kind of posture. All right, so I do it with my shoulders and my arms bent, or my arms crossed in front of me, because this is how a lot of us kind of stand, and it feels quite comfortable, right? So if I take my hands behind my back, you can see my shoulders are rounded. It's a little bit harder to do now that I've opened them up, and our hips are pressed forward. So essentially, if we're stuck at a desk all day and we're typing or whatever and we're reading, this back half of our body goes to sleep, right? Your bottom doesn't do anything, your hamstrings don't do anything, your lower back muscles don't do anything. And from that sitting position, right, your hips become very tight and the lower part of your abs also become very weak. So what do? A bit like the rounded shoulders, we do the opposite, right? So in future videos, we'll strengthen the bottom and we'll strengthen this kind of lower pelvic floor ab area, all right? But no, what we need to do, right, now that our shoulders are back and looking nicely, what we need to do is go from, and now that our shoulders are up high, my bottom will stick out. We need to tuck that bottom underneath. We need to activate these lower tummy muscles and our bottom, all right? So they sit there like this, right? As we stand up straight, we're aware of it. We need to tuck, right? Let me put here. Ready? We need to tuck. So simply, if you're laying in bed, now let me lay down for you for a second. These what are called bridges, I tend to call hip raisers, all right? That's better. You'll be able to see better. All right, what we want to do, right, is scoop that belly. Okay, so they're called glute bridges. I call them hip raisers. But what we'd like to do is raise that bottom, raise the bottom, but also scoop that pelvis. All right, so your bottom will activate. You'll feel your bottom squeeze, and we're going to scoop so that your lower tummy muscles activate. And if you hold them there, you'll feel them engage, but they'll also just dissipate very quickly. All right, they don't really want to work. They're used to doing nothing. All right, so let's scoop. So like you're trying to see your pelvis. Now I've got my head up. It's better if your head is down. It's really just so you guys can see me and so the camera doesn't go haywire. All right, so we're scooping. All right. So what we're going to do, let's do 10 of those. Then we're going to go back to our band pull aparts, and then we're done. So this is a little added extra just to start to work on the posture, which will be another video in the coming weeks. Okay, ready? So glute bridge, feet flat, everything back, lower back flat on the ground, and we're going to scoop your pelvis. right? Scoop. Ready? So I'm doing it with my hands. We scoop and look at your hip bones. Have your hip bones look at you and go down. Hip bones look. And what you should be feeling is that bottom squeezing as you come up. Your bottom squeezes and it scoops. Your bottom squeezes and your hip scoop. This lasts 4 or 5. Let's go 5 more. I want you to really squeeze the bottom and scoop. Ready? 4 more. Squeeze before you scoop. 3 more. Squeeze and scoop. 2 more. Squeeze and scoop. Last one. Squeeze and scoop. Fantastic. Okay. Let's grab our band. Band, dumbbells, but grab one of these bands. I've got a medium one, but it is quite strong. Arms about 1 foot apart, maybe 1.5 feet. Just outside shoulder width, and pull. Let me take a few steps back. 2, we're going for 12. And keep it under control, particularly on the way back. We want to keep it under control. Squeeze those shoulder blades in the back and relax. Shoulder blades, relax. So we're controlling this with our back muscles. We're not pulling feverishly with our hands. We're controlling with the back. The back goes first. Let's start the movement with the muscle that we want to work. Start the movement with the muscle we want to work. Let's go 5 more. Now, if this is your first venture with me and you're thinking, my God, he said 12, and now we've done 11 and we've got 4 more to go, I do lose count. I talk a lot. 2 more, and I reckon that's probably overdoing it. And 1 more. And basically I do it because I'm doing this along with you. If I'm not overly tired, then you probably aren't either. And I want you to just get that little bit of strain into your muscles without going overboard. I said before in previous videos, I hate it when people will give you exercises and a string of exercises, let's do this, and they haven't done it, nor could they do it, and they don't understand how hard it is. So part of the reason we're doing these videos together is I know what you're feeling, you know that I know what you're feeling, and it's not completely over the top, and it will be balanced for every level of fitness, so that we're all experiencing the same exercises at the same rate with the same intensity together. And I know what you're feeling is the most important aspect. Okay, so to recap, today's program was on rounded shoulders and a little bit on our posture, which we'll do in a future video. We want to open the chest through our chest stretches on a wall, our band, that other stretch on the wall. Then we're, as importantly, or most importantly, we're starting to strengthen those muscles between the shoulder blades. Now, this is going to be an ongoing thing. You go back to your computer right now and start typing and printing and mousing and everything, and then we get on our phone, we swipe and we swipe and we swipe. We're going to undo a lot of what we just did. So we need to be vigilantly doing these exercises, stretching our chest. And what you'll find is, particularly those guys that have this strain down the neck here, it will start to disappear. You won't be relying on massages to relieve it for a couple of days before it keeps coming back. If you know the reasons why your neck is sore and your posture is becoming problematic, then we can always take the steps to fix them. And these are the steps to fix them. Okay, look forward to seeing you guys next time. Have a great day, and I will see you soon.